What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Matt Fernandez, and as always, I'm host Matt Llewellyn. Matt, the 49ers are in.
They're in.
How's it going?
It's going well, man. My voice is recovering a little bit from yesterday. We were screaming in the stands. It was a tale of two halves. There was heartbreak, then there was excitement, and then there was just straight up pandemonium. So let's get right into it, man. Dylan, we see you, bro.
We got you, bro.
We got you.
Send us a DM. I think you follow us on Twitter. We'll take care of you.
Yep.
You called it out, so you deserve some props.
You got. I think it's a jersey, right?
Yep.
It's a jersey from my man Dylan. So
cheers, by the way. Got a nice Sprite vodka here.
Oh, I got water.
Got to celebrate punching the ticket. How's it going, Melissa?
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. MTAR says, Matt, we did sweat our asses off.
Yeah.
Man, that was crazy. And real quick, I just need to acknowledge this because for the past day and a half, I've been getting flamed for my first half opinions and takes. And it's I understand when I'm putting my opinions out there, when things aren't going well, the potential for things to improve. And then my takes are then incorrect. That's fine. I'm 100% okay with that. That's kind of the whole point of live tweeting during the game is this is how I feel at this specific moment.
Exactly.
And I was very upset. Every fan should be very upset when you have this major game and they go out and just lay a complete egg in the first half, go down 17-0.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So I just needed to say that real quick because it's been a bit
Listen,
much.
We're all fans, man, and everybody went through it. You cannot point out a 49er fan. If any 49er fan claims that at the point we were down 17-0, that they weren't, beside themselves, anyone who says, down 17-0, it's all right, we got this, they're lying. So we all get emotional, you're live tweeting. It is what it is, man. That doesn't mean that we're not real fans or whatever, right? We're just all emotional people. We all love the 49ers, and it's tough to watch your team just, kind of go out there and not get out to a hot start, with playoffs on the line. I mean, it's one thing in the middle of the season, but this was win and get in. So it was more important than others. So yeah, I totally feel you on that.
Exactly. That's kind of the biggest thing, I think, is that so much was riding on this game. And I feel like we expected the 49ers to come out hot on it, on point, and we didn't really see it. So I think I was just kind of more upset than anything. But I see everybody in the chat that was kind of look, I was feeling the same way. So it's just the type of people that go around after the fact that are oh, this it's come on, nobody benefits from this. Like you said, we're all fans.
I can tell you being there live, especially on that, we'll get to it, but that first interception, you don't get to see some of the nuance, right? I got to go and watch the game again today, the TV version of the game. You don't get to see that nuance, and you're just in the stands and you just see what looks like a horrendous throw. And I can tell you that I was probably even worse than you because it's hard when you're sitting there, right? Yeah. You got other fans around you gassing you up, which, by the way, it was 75% 49ers fan, which was fantastic. The Rams had to pump sound in there just to make it seem like it was for the 49ers. I'm sure you could hear the PA guy over the TV. I heard him or whatever, doing the third down stuff and the whose house stuff. And it turned out it was our house in the end, but we can jump into the game, man.
Yeah. I forget who said it, but it was one of the guys, one of the reporters tweeted, I think the PA guy's genuinely asking whose house because he doesn't really know. There's so many Niners fans. So obviously they come out completely flat. They get into a hole. Jimmy's thumb looks whatever. I mean, the Niners quickly went 3 and out, I believe. Or they went 6 plays in the first drive, 20 yards, and then punted. That was after the Rams already got the field goal. And then the Rams went 12 plays, 6 yards for the touchdown. And we're looking damn, these are the Rams. They've been hearing all season, 5 straight wins.
And don't forget, the 49ers didn't even get the ball until 6:39 left in the first quarter. That first Rams drive took forever. And you know, like the first third down they converted was just a phenomenal catch by Odell Beckham against Emmanuel Mosley. Mosley played as like tight as you possibly could, and Beckham just made a great play. Then we had the big play that Dante Johnson gave up to Cooper Kupp, and it just seemed like Cooper Kupp was just ate him up all day long. And it was like, it's like, this is the one guy, what we talked about. You can't let Cooper Kupp eat you up. And I knew that Dante Johnson was going to get tore up a little bit, and, you know, that's what it turned out to be at first. But, you know, hats off to everybody who hung in there. And let me just get this off the bat. When I was watching it live, I was so pissed at Jimmy. I was just like, this is crazy. This is terrible. Bad. I will say this, watching it on TV, the first interception, Jimmy was hit before he threw the ball, and that's what caused it to kind of float. That's just one of those plays that happens to every quarterback. I'm not going to put that on Jimmy. The second one shouldn't have counted. He got hit in the helmet, like hard. It should not have counted. But I will say this, with the caveat being that he threw the ball before he was touched, and it was a bad throw. With 4 Rams around him, and it was behind Kittle. It was a bad throw, but still it shouldn't have counted. But hats off to him playing with that injury that I was convinced was going to affect him. But he gutted it out, minus those 2 bad plays. And I think there was a bad throw to, I want to say maybe it was Jennings. That was really behind Jennings. Mm-hmm. It was just a couple of baby misses, right? Other than that, I thought Jimmy played a really good game and gutted it out and did a great job, you know, overcoming a bad first half. So I will give credit where credit is due. Jimmy Garoppolo played better than I thought, and he played a game that the 49ers needed him to play. It was kind of a tale of 2 Jimmys, right? Like, you got bad Jimmy in some spots, but for the most part, we got good Jimmy, and it was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, that's a pretty good breakdown of it. And I tweeted last night, and I also ended it with
the fumble too, by the way. The fumble was pretty bad. And
I don't know.
Actually, that got me worried about his hand.
Yeah, because it just dropped out of his hand. He didn't even get hit. The ball just kind of slipped out. And I was thinking, he can't even hold the ball. And if I remember correctly, shortly after that was that like drive where they just ran it straight. They didn't even let him pass. So I'm like, he can't even pass. But I was going to say, after the game or during the game, I'm thinking, how the hell are they going to get out of this? They're down 17-0. And kudos to Jimmy for having the mind of a damn, I don't know, goldfish, because this guy really does not get phased from one series to another. And I was listening to Haberman and Middlecoff earlier, and they were saying he could basically throw like the worst interception you'll ever see. And then it's like Men in Black, just flash his memory, go to the next drive, and then lead you on a 12-play, 75-yard drive for a touchdown, which is commendable. And I got to give Kyle Shanahan credit.
I mean, it's one of the things we loved him for in 2019, right? Every game, it seemed like they were flashing. After Jimmy throws an interception, he has a quarterback rating of like 100 million. And it's just one of those things. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. He definitely, and especially on the rewatch when I got to see up close and stuff, he was fiery, man. He was out there. I think there was one point they were showing, he was about to give a high five to a player, and the player was going in super hard. And he pulled it back, and he was like, "Hey."
Yeah, on his bad thumb.
But yeah, dude, like, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna, we sit here and we criticize Jimmy when he deserves to be criticized. And, he still had some messed up plays, but for the most part, I mean, he did exactly what you want him to do. He threw some darts out there too. I mean, that last touchdown play call that Jennings caught was just fantastic. But we can keep going in order. Yeah. I want to talk about that drive where it was run, Debo touchdown pass. That was pretty sick, dude.
That was really nice. But real quick, I just wanted to say, and I tweeted this, that the Jimmy Garoppolo performance, I think, was a kind of a microcosm of his tenure with the 49ers. And it kind of perfectly encapsulated why there's such a strong divide when it comes to the fan base and their feelings towards him. I feel like some fans feel like the Jimmy Garoppolo we saw in the first half is the one that we get more often than not, whereas others feel like the one we saw in the second half is the one we get more often than not. And it really is a mix of both, but it seems like he kind of just gets it done when it needs to be done. And I saw Greg Cohn and Nick Wright, think of them what you want, say he's both the arsonist and the fireman, which I thought was kind of hilarious because, yeah, a lot of people are saying they were kind of in that hole because of his mistakes. Not solely, I'm not 100% putting that on him, but when you turn the ball over, it's very hard to dig out of that. So that's all I'll say on that. I hate getting into the Jimmy G talk because so many people are so passionate about it, and you just end up getting like attacked for it.
Yeah. I mean,
But
we get the guys like, you know, J Good 49 who was in here last week. We get guys like Dick Tracy, who's just, it's not about hate. We never hate here. I keep it real. Like, I will give Jimmy props when he deserves props, and I will criticize Jimmy when he needs to be criticized. But I'm gonna be fair. That's why I said that first interception was not on him. The second one was, but it still shouldn't have counted because he got a hit to the helmet that they didn't call. And overall, he played a really efficient game minus those couple of passes, particularly given what what his injury was. Itchy saying his throws almost look stronger and better than when he's not hurt. It was a funny thing during the game. Troy Aikman was explaining that Jimmy Garoppolo was actually gripping the ball different. Said he was gripping the ball different and had to throw it different. So maybe that contributed to what was going on. But I mean, overall, it was a nice win. Props, I think, again, Jimmy struggled, but had like way more positive plays than negative plays. I think that Dante Johnson really, really struggled early, kind of kept it together late. The guy that I was probably most annoyed with, though, was Dre Greenlaw. I got to talk about that. We're going to get the negatives out of the way because we want to talk positives, but Dre Greenlaw came out like way too amped up. He had the face mask penalty. He had the helmet to helmet hit, which was like a really egregious helmet to helmet hit. And then he had like the suplex that wasn't called.
Yeah.
I mean, he was out. I mean, he made some good plays for sure, but I think he was just a little too amped up, and he's got to have a little bit more discipline than that.
100%. It was extremely frustrating because they're without Alshire, obviously. And we get Dre Greenlaw back, which I'm sure everybody who remembers going into the season was the starting linebacker alongside Fred Warner. So a lot of people are probably thinking, okay, good, we're going to get an improvement from Alshire, which wasn't the case. At times he was a liability. He should have gotten penalized, like you said, Matt, for that kind of suplex that he did.
Yeah. And I know I see Forever Faithful say the suplex was more on his side. Yeah, but still, you're not supposed to like dunk players like that. Yeah, like even on his side, like that's questionable, dude. Like if somebody did that to one of our guys, we all know what our response would be. So we got to again, I'm gonna keep it real. Like we need to talk where talk is due or whatever. So
yeah, no, I agree. It was extremely frustrating because you want to see a little more discipline out of him. Dylan, I'm not ignoring your comments, but we will get to that. We're kind of going in chronological order, so I will talk about that. Yeah, I was super upset with the 49ers, the way they started. And then obviously once they actually did start to get a little bit of life with like 3 minutes left, Jimmy gets intercepted. That's what you talked about. And then they get the ball back with like 38 seconds to go. And what do? They actually do drive the ball down the field. Jimmy hits Ayuk. They call their timeout, and then Jimmy hits Ayuk again. Debo gets pushed out of bounds for a 10-yard gain, and then he's able to hit Hasty for 8 yards. And a couple of plays later, they're all the way down to the Rams 24 after he hit Ayuk for a nice 26-yard gain. How big was that field goal? I know going into halftime, Matt, it's like 3 points, whatever. I heard Sean McVay, and I thought it was a little disrespectful. He goes, hey, I got to give them credit. They were able to get some points on the board before half, but we just got to keep doing our job. It's like, come on, man. You know what you're doing. How big was that field goal?
Yeah, McVay getting a little chippy because he knows that Shanahan's his daddy, but yeah, it was big. I know Dick Tracy talking about Hasty dropping a pass. Well, first of all, he didn't drop it. The defender got his hands in there. And that's because that was bad ball placement. He had to step on the defender. If that's out in front, it's 6. And it's one of those weird things that, it's one of those plays, right? Everybody makes those type of throws or has those type of misses. I'm not going to kill anybody for it, but let's keep it real. The defender did a good job on where the throw was placed to knock it out of Hasty's hands. And it was those little things that kind of killed drives, There was one where I think it was another it was like the Jimmy fumble that they recovered, put them in a second and long situation. Jimmy ate a couple of weird sacks. I know there was that offsides play where Jimmy kind of bobbled the snap and then kind of ran it forward and then took another sack on the back end. There were just weird little sequences that kind of stopped and started the 49ers momentum, particularly in that first half, that, you know, they had to overcome. But again, I've said it over and over and over again, Jimmy in 2 minutes, man, like he does really good to get them points. That's something that he excels at. And I think it's because you kind of, you're calling plays to move the ball. You know, it's really difficult to describe. It just changes the complexion of what you're trying to do. And I think it takes a little bit off of Jimmy's plate. So it works out well for him. The more he can just go out there and kind of sling it, the better he ends up doing. So it was really, really important to get those points before halftime. And particularly because they won the coin toss in the first half. So it's like you're getting 3 and you get to come out in the second half and really try to make a drive happen. So it was super important. And, you know, then they were able to come out and get it done on an excellent run from Debo on the outside for that first touchdown to bring it within 7. I mean, that was a great run. It was a great drive overall. I mean, everybody was making plays. Brandon Ayuk looked like a man possessed. Juwan Jennings is what everybody wanted out of Jalen Hurd. I mean, we talked about it early in the season when they were saying, hey, his feet look a lot better. I can tell you right now, Juwan Jennings will be here for a while if he keeps playing like that. He had a great, great game yesterday. Kind of a coming out party for him, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he finished the game with, I think, 5 yards shy of 100, 2 touchdowns. You love to see that growth from these young players. And we'll talk about, you know, Ambry Thomas as well. But I just want to say real quick before we get any more into this game, props to Colton McKivitz, because before the game goes off, we find out that Trent Williams is inactive along with K'Wan Williams. And we're like, what the hell? And everybody's like, okay, Jalen Ward's going to get the start. But
I thought Trey Lance was going to get the start because Trent Williams was out. And when I was watching the game ahead of time, like Jimmy came out and did like some throws, like he was just throwing a little bit. But Trey was like making all kinds of throws. He was doing like bootleg throws to receivers, this and this and that. And I was just like, man, Trey's getting a lot of work before the game warming up. Maybe with Trent out, they rock with Trey Lance, but it ended up being Jimmy Garoppolo and it ended up being Colt McKivitz, you know, making the start. And dude, he did a really good job for not getting like any run this season, pretty much. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. And he had also never played at left tackle before. Every snap he's taken has been at right guard, right tackle. I think he might have taken some snaps at center. I forgot specifically, but I know he had never lined up at left tackle. So that was huge. And look, he wasn't a factor. It's like a long snapper. You never want to hear about the left tackle. And we didn't hear about him all game long. So that was huge. Also, and I believe Melissa talking about it as well, Robbie Gold. Turns out the guy's a better punter than Mitch Wishnowsky, which who the hell would have known?
I wouldn't go that far. His first punt was trash. It got a nice bounce, though. It got a nice bounce, but that shit went like 30 yards in the air, dude. Like, you and I can punt like that.
Let's be honest, though. How many of Mitch's punts are like that?
Like 2. I mean, listen, dude, you should pull up the stats because I don't think Mitch is as bad as everybody thinks he is.
He's not worth what they spent on him.
At least makes tackles.
Yeah, and he gets concussed. But look, I'm being facetious.
God,
but
you are killing him right now, bro.
Well, no.
Why you hate Mitch Wishnowsky, bro?
I just don't think he's worth what they spent on him. That's all. And I know it's the
it was a
sunk
4th
cost
round
fallacy.
Pick,
it is what it is. How many punters get drafted in the 4th round?
How many players in the 49ers drafted? Is Mitch Wishnowsky a better pick than Joe Williams?
Is he a better pick than Elijah Mitchell? I mean, we could do this both ways.
Elijah Mitchell's a better pick than their 3rd round guy.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it either way. There's better picks and there's worse picks. I'm just saying, I think for the most part, you could probably find guys either in the later rounds or undrafted to come in and punt. Maybe not for a long time, not going to have a giant career. There's the Andy Lees out there that are just going to be fantastic wherever they go for a decade. But I don't think Mitch has lived up to what they spent on him. That's it. That's my only beef.
I mean, I guess I don't know if it's worth all the like venom you just spit at his ass right now, but
I was just saying he's physical, but it hurts him because then he gets hurt. You know, like it kind of works against him. He took a hit to the head and then he got concussed. My whole point in all of this was just to give Robbie Gold some kudos because I usually shit on Robbie Gold because of his stance with the 49ers, wanting more money, holding out.
can't hit extra points consistently.
Can't hit extra points, doesn't do the kickoffs, and then he gets
kick a
called
field goal
on
from the 39-yard line because he ain't got the leg for it.
Yeah, and then he gets called on.
I mean, I'm cool addressing both of them fools in the offseason. I don't care. I'm just saying I don't want to spend this much time talking about special teamers.
I was going to spend a second on it, and we kind of delved into it longer. I was going to give credit to McKivitz and Gold because they both stepped up.
Dang, we got a little nothing but Niners up in here right now with that little tete-a-tete.
You're full of shit, Matt. You are full of shit. No, I'm just kidding. Look, but moving forward into the game, that touchdown that they were able to get on that Deebo Samuel run, I swear, and I forget who said it, but the way the Niners are able to use that extra like 6 inches along the sidelines is huge. I've seen so many, specifically Deebo Samuel runs where he does get the edge, and most players I think would go out of bounds, but he's able to keep it in bounds and scroll right along the sideline and get in for the score.
They have really good balance. Like a lot of their ball carriers have really, really good balance. I saw a couple runs from Elijah Mitchell where like it looked like he was stopped in the backfield and he was just able to hop over an arm tackle or like run through somebody. And it was really nice, man. It was really nice to see.
It was great. And I love the fact that Kyle, even down 17 at one point, never got away from the running game, was never like, oh, damn, okay, we're going to have to drop back 50 times. Nope. They kind of stayed with their game plan. And it ended up working out. So obviously after the touchdown, they kick off. And what do the Rams do? They go 3 and out. They move the ball a whole 4 yards. And at this point, I'm like, yo, they're down 7 points. We just got a 3 and out. I feel the momentum shifting. And sure enough, the Niners get the ball back, go 74 yards in 11 plays. And this is the drive, Matt, where it was like 10 straight runs. And then the one pass is from Deebo. So how did you see this in real, like at the stadium? How did this feel to you?
It was crazy. Like, I mean, it's a little bit at a time, right? Like you get these things. But on that touchdown pass, like I watched it because it was we were kind of like in the corner of the end zone. And so we had kind of an isometric view. And so it was at the far end. So we're able to watch the whole thing. And man, he got so open. Like they bet hard on the Deebo run. The Jalen Ramsey crashed and Jennings like just kind of blocked and released and went right by him. No safety help over the top. It was funny though to watch it back on the replay. First of all, we went nuts at the stadium, but watching it back on TV, it was almost like Jennings was too open because he bobbled that thing for a second, and I was just like, oh my god, that was way closer than I thought it was. Like it looked just free and easy in the stadium. And man, it was nice though. Deebo kind of did like a jump pass, so it was kind of like a weird throw, but it worked, man. And they were not expecting it at all.
Yeah. Jawan Jennings, when he was talking about it, and he was being interviewed after, I think for CBS, and he said, I was kind of looking off at the safety, and when I was looking off at the safety, then the ball got there, and I kind of took my eyes off for a second, almost didn't catch it. Luckily, he did. The 49ers have been trying to get that play off, I want to say, for a few weeks now. I think it might have been against the Falcons or the Bengals. I forget who, but they ran it and George Kittle got held. But man, if he didn't get held, that would have been a touchdown as well. But I'm glad they finally got that off because it was huge. Ian Sharp says McVay looked worried in the third quarter. He could see the momentum change.
Yeah.
Which is why
things happen when you run into the end zone and start celebrating like you're a player.
I was just gonna say that,
was annoying,
is why,
dude. We all were like, "Where's the flag on that?" Because
I was surprised they
didn't do that.
They had asked Kyle Shanahan about it in the post-game press conference, and he basically said, I didn't see it. I kind of turned my head and walked the other way. After that
Shanahan does not see a lot of things.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't know if this is every coach. I'd be really interested to see if it's every coach, but he's real quick to be like, oh, I didn't see it, or oh, I wasn't paying attention, or oh, I was doing something else. It was like, like earlier in the year when he was like, oh, I didn't know it was 4th and 1.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, how do you not know it's 4th and 1, dude? He was like, I was on the other end of the field. I'm like, okay, well, walk down to the otother side, dude.
Yeah. It's like, bro, you call the plays. I think you need to know the down and distance.
Kind of important.
Yeah. Fairfield podcast, did McKivitz play left tackle in college? I was talking about NFL snaps. So since he's been with the Niners, he hasn't taken any, which is a huge difference. Especially since
I believe McKivitz was a tackle in college, and then they do the thing like they do with a lot of people where they like move them in position. They seem to do it a lot with linemen and a lot with the secondary.
Yeah. Dick Tracy says Gold missed a few chippies this year, lost us at least one game. We'll get into this at the end, but you know who's missed the most extra points in the NFL? Greg Zuerlein for the Cowboys.
Interesting.
He's missed 6, which is the most in the NFL. So
that's a lot.
Something
I will say
this,
on. Dude. Like, speaking of, special teamers or whatever, Robbie Gould, the thing that annoyed me the most about Gould, because somebody earlier in here was saying that on the kickoffs, he was kicking it out the end zone. I'm like, yeah, he can do it, but he's such a prick that he chooses not to.
He just doesn't.
He's like, I'm not running down there on kicks. He doesn't want to do anything where there's the possibility of him having to make a tackle.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, like, even watching him on the punts, I'm gonna go back and watch the all 22 because I specifically remember on punts that dude was not making an effort to get down the field at all. If there was going to be a sweet return, he was not going to be anywhere near it.
No, not at all. I was listening again to Hibman Middlecoff earlier, and they were saying, I wonder what his week looks like. It's probably like golf, a couple of team meetings. Like it's nothing like Nick Bosa's. It's nothing like Jimmy Garoppolo's. It is interesting. Ty Anderson.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, he's definitely a businessman, if you know what I mean.
Yes, 100%. He says Cowboys is a great matchup. I think is there a team you'd rather play? We're gonna get into this. I'm not ignoring your comment.
Yeah, we want to get into the end of the game and kind of break it down. Still, we're still in that mode.
Exactly. Yeah, but we're not ignoring you. We'll get back to it. I promise. So then after the Deebo Samuel passing touchdown, Matt, the Rams go 3 plays and they're facing a 3rd and 16. And Matt Stafford goes deep for Ben Skoranek, and he's intercepted by who else but Emmanuel Mosley, fresh off the IR. He took it back, but upon further review, he was touchdown right where he intercepted it. At this point, I don't know if it was just me, but I'm thinking, oh, the Niners are going to like run away with it. Like, here's a huge momentum swing. Did you feel that way too?
I thought we had the momentum, and like we're all in our section. Every time they're doing something, they get a first down. We're doing the Levi's first down chant and like doing all that stuff. We're getting hyped. These are people I've never met before, but we're all like fist bumping and high fiving and doing the thing. And that Mosley play was big. We were like, okay, we got a turnover. I mean, it was essentially like a punt almost, but it's still that hype play, right? Like a punt is not very hype in terms of, okay, they punted the ball. Good job, guys. We got to stop. A pick, you're like, all right, now we got momentum. Yeah. Now we're, it was fun. It was fun to see. And at that point, momentum was definitely on our side, although that definitely wouldn't last that long.
Especially because we've seen so many deep passes go for completions or PI. So the fact that it was intercepted.
Right. Well, I mean, there was nice. earlier in the game where we got right through the line. We were about to hit Stafford and he just feathers one in to Cooper Kupp. And I'm just like, God damn, can't. It was one of those 3rd and long, man. Why are we so bad on 3rd down and long? It's just so bad.
Yeah. And in the first half, they were consistently getting beat on 3rd down. And it was like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. It was so frustrating to watch because you do good on 1st and 2nd down, but you can't defend it on 3rd down. And that's kind of why they were able to get up to that 17-point lead. So the 49ers, like I said, they get this interception with Emmanuel Mosley. And unfortunately, they don't add on or take the lead, I should say, because it's 17-all at this point. They go 3 and out, which is unfortunate, but oh well. They go 3 yards and end up punting, a 3-yard run and then 2 incomplete passes. But luckily, the Rams went 6 plays themselves and then had to punt. So the 49ers then get the ball back and they're driving again. They start at their 23. They get all the way down to the Rams 17 after a false start. They're at the 22. And then we see Jimmy jimmy it up, and throw an interception to a covered George Kittle where Jalen Ramsey bobbles it up.
Well, it had to be a perfect throw, right? Because Jalen Ramsey had the sideline and Kittle had made a move towards the middle, but Taylor Rapp was quickly closing. So it had to be on his body, and Jimmy threw it like a foot behind him.
Yeah.
And, you know, regardless of the fact that Jimmy got hit and it shouldn't have counted, I mean, it was still a hell of a play by Jalen Ramsey. I mean, that was like, I tipped it to himself like 15 times. It reminded me of the old Dennis Rodman rebound thing where he would just tip it out to himself to half court. And it's just like, dang, man, it was,
it was unfortunate because even I'm like, there's no way that didn't hit the ground.
I F-bombed because that was our end zone. So that was like right in front of us. And I was just like, MF, B, D, any letter you can think of with bad words came out of my mouth. I'm sure my wife was horrified of me. She was like, who is this person? But yeah, we were all just like, God, it was, because, even if you have stalled drives, right? Oh, it's 3 and out. Oh, it's 3 and out. The last major play was the Emmanuel Mosley play. And the 49ers are driving to take points. We were in at the 22. So essentially the red zone. And they're just, they gave it up. And I just got shades of the Tennessee game where he threw that pick in the end zone. And it was just like, man, we cannot afford to not get points in this game. It's too important to get points. And, that felt like it kind of halted some of the 49ers momentum. Yeah. And that turned out to be true because the Rams went right down the field and scored a touchdown.
Yeah. It was unfortunate because, like you said, at the very least, that's likely 3 points. And instead of going up 20-17, the Rams were able to march all the way down the field and get a touchdown with a beautiful pass to Cooper Kupp in the back of the end zone, by the way. So the 49ers get the ball back. They trade a couple of punts. And then, okay, here's what I want to talk about. So they get the ball back, and I believe this is in the fourth quarter already. Fourth quarter. They get the ball back with 2:29 left in the game, and I believe all 3 timeouts. And they go 3 and out. And they have to punt with 2 minutes left. And this is the first time in this entire game that I said, that's a wrap. It's a wrap. It was a fun season. That's it. They needed to get something here. I didn't think they would get the ball back. I just didn't. And touching on earlier where I said I'm getting flamed for a lot of tweets, this is specifically the tweet that I think people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you thought you gave up. Statistically, and I think Dick Tracy said it in here, Dylan too, the Niners had a 0.4 chance of winning the game from this point. So it's not like I was out of my mind to say it's a wrap. How did you feel when they punted at this point?
I felt like that they were still in it simply because I had watched the Rams multiple times run on first and second down and not get anything. And so I was like, they're probably going to try to kill clock and kill the 49ers timeouts, and they'll only throw on third down. And then they ran it on third down. And so once they got that, third down out of the way and they forced the Rams to punt, I thought they would be in business. But I was always expecting the Rams to run on first and second down because they'd been doing it the whole game. And it had been a lot of like what we talked about, third and longs. And I think that McVay kind of got inside his own head and was like, well, let's try to run for it rather than take the chance that, it's an incomplete pass and then they have a timeout. So it's like one of those clock situations where I think he just got a little too inside his head because I fully expected them to pass on third down and then they ran it. And it was just like Cooper Kupp has gone off this game. I don't understand. Tyler Higbee has gone off this game. You need 6 yards or 7 yards on this third down. You might be able to get it, especially if you empty out the backfield and get the 49ers to have to put in their dime corner or something like that. I don't know what the thinking was there, but when they ran it and they, didn't get the first down, I thought, okay, this is the time we're going to see what's up. And that was all the fans needed in the stadium we started going crazy because we were like, all right, here it is. Here it is. Jimmy is good in 2 minutes. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I was extremely optimistic when they were able to get the ball back. And real quick, can we just talk about Eric Armstead real quick? The guy had
he had a hell of a game. He had
game of
such
his
a good
life.
game.
He had the game of his life. And the
He was
49ers,
so good yesterday.
Yeah, so good. He was able to just, I think he had a better game than DeForest Buckner has had all year. Maybe DeForest Buckner has had with his time with the 49ers, statistically. And situational wise, he had huge sacks when it mattered the most.
Well, Eric Armstead's in the playoffs and DeForest Buckner isn't. So
that's right. And Solomon Thomas is as well. So it's a bit crazy. But so the 49ers get the ball back with 1 minute and 27 seconds left. And I believe they have all 3 timeouts, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they had none.
Oh, they had none. You're right. You're right. They had no
none.
timeouts left. And right away, Jimmy Garoppolo hits Brandon Ayuk for a gain of 21 yards. They're down to the 49ers 33-yard line. And then he hits Jennings for another 5 yards.
Yeah, I thought at the time I was like, ooh, I don't know if you want to catch that one, dude, because like now you have to get back up in formation.
Yeah.
And you got to run another play.
Did you hear the commentator say you almost don't even want to complete that pass? Like it takes more time than you gain moving down the field.
But the one thing that I will say is because they were still in hurry up, the defense couldn't substitute.
Yeah,
so you actually
which was nice.
Keep that no huddle going, which I always feel no huddle is to the offense's advantage.
Yeah, it definitely is. So they're able to get that after the 5-yard gain. They're down to the
I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this after we recap the game, Melissa.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo hits Deebo Samuel, who is a beast and makes a man miss, carries it all the way down for 43 yards down to the Rams' 19-yard line, where Jimmy Garoppolo runs up and quickly spikes the ball. And the Rams were offside.
Offsides, yeah.
Total idiots. Total idiots. And then they proceeded to take a timeout as well. So 1st and 5, incomplete pass to Deebo. It is what it is. It was close. 2nd and 5 from the 14. Jimmy hits Juwan Jennings, who's wide open on a blown coverage across the middle of the field for a touchdown.
Yeah, so the way that they did it is they kind of stacked the 2 receivers. Brandon Ayuk was over the top with Juwan Jennings underneath, and the slot corner kind of bit on Brandon Ayuk over the top, and Jennings was wide open. I mean, wide open. And then Jimmy Garoppolo made a great throw, recognized it. I mean, great job by him recognizing the open man, and it was a walk-in touchdown. I love the celebration. The little bowling celebration was great. Again, that was on our side of the field, so that was a fun one to see down there, and we all went nuts. And yeah, you're just like, all right, here we go. And we need to, I think at that point there were still like 34 seconds left. So, we're still kind of a little worried, right? Because like the Rams have timeout. And we were just like, man, all right, we got to hold them here. We got to stop them. And so, we know what the story is. Big sack by Eric Armstead. That's one of the ones we were talking about. And then they just let the ball, roll out, and we were headed to overtime.
Yep.
And in overtime, we're watching the coin toss, and I can't really hear because all the fans are going crazy. But I look up, I see the toss, and then I see Fred Warner go like this, and I'm like, hell yeah, we got the ball. Let's go.
Yeah. And just real quick, Fred Warner, if I remember correctly, every other overtime game the Niners have had, if it's been more than one, I don't know if it has been off the top of my head, but he's called tails. I specifically remember that he's called tails every time he's gone up because
I saw the replay. He called heads so fast.
He called heads.
He didn't even know which side heads was, and he called it heads. He was like heads.
So I wonder if maybe one of the players got to him and was like, yo, tails has never worked for us. Call heads. And he did it.
I can't remember who I was listening to, but somebody was like, if it didn't rhyme, if it wasn't just tails never fails, would anybody ever pick tails? Because tails sucks.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So the 49ers get the ball to start overtime, and they look good. I mean, okay, first play, 1st and 10 from the 25. It's the run pass option. And man, Jimmy was just a little behind Deebo, but if he hit Deebo, That's a one-on-one battle with the safety and a very good shot. He's able to make him miss because it was the backup safety. Jordan Fuller had left the game earlier in the game, but he missed him. So that's all right. 2nd and 10 from the 25. They run it up with Debo for 13 yards, first down. 2nd and 10 from the first and 10 from the 38. Elijah Mitchell gets another 8 yards. 2nd and 2 from the 46. Mitchell for another 6 yards, but Brunskill's flagged for holding, so they're brought back. 2nd and 12. These holding calls make me so nervous because I'm like, damn, okay, that's usually a drive killer. Now they're facing a double-digit yardage to go, but no worries. Jimmy Garoppolo hits Samuel for 6 yards, makes it a very manageable 3rd and 6, where who else but Jawan Jennings shows up. Jimmy hits him, and on the side of the field, on the outside of the field, I should say, and then he's able to catch it and run forward for 34 yards, all the way down to the Rams 24. And from there, the 49ers weren't able to do much, unfortunately, but a couple of yards.
They ate the clock, though. They ate a lot of this overtime period, and they were able to kick a field goal. And, the Rams didn't even get the ball back until there was less than 3 minutes in overtime.
And on 3rd and 10, George Kittle did not go out of bounds. So that forced them to call their last timeout, which was huge.
Yeah.
Because they get the ball back. I think it was, let me see.
I think it was the ball back. 2:48.
Yep. 2:48 with no timeouts.
Yeah.
So, and at this point, did you think as well that the 49ers were going to have a walk-off touchdown win? Because I was dead sure they were going to score a touchdown.
I thought that there was a chance when they were driving down there. And, I know they talked about it on the game, how, I don't know, for whatever reason, Aikman was like, Debo's one-on-one. And I was like, yeah, but Jalen Ramsey is in his pocket. Like, you don't throw that. I thought that the one thing that I would say is that Jimmy was a little late on that throw to Kittle and didn't give Kittle any space to work with. I think if you throw that a hair earlier, Kittle can swing around, and he has, like, multiple avenues to get to. But they called forward momentum, which means that he was considered down inbounds, and they had to use that timeout, which was very, very huge because I think that it forced the Rams' hands and took away a lot of their playbook.
Yeah, the throw, I didn't like that. I don't know. Also, the commentators were saying, like, why not even take a shot to the end zone? How did you feel about that? Were you okay with them playing it safe at that point and not throwing to the end zone?
I definitely was, given the time situation and given the fact that Jimmy had already thrown an interception. That took away points. I was like, at this point, you got to take the points because you have to force the Rams. Because at that point, we knew, okay, Arizona lost or Arizona was losing. New Orleans was winning. But the way that it was all shaking out was we already knew that they only had to tie to get into the playoffs. And so it's like, take the points because you're forcing them to have to score a touchdown to eliminate you from the playoffs. And they have 2:48 to do it, and they have, a limited, whatever. At that point, I think when they snapped it, it was like 2:54. So it's like you're like, okay, it's just they're gonna have to run a 2-minute drill. And it was what it was. Kittle was the guy that was open, so you have to throw it to him, and you had to keep it safe. It would have been nice if Debo was able to get in, and they would have thrown it to Debo, but Ramsey was all over him. I mean, when Debo did I can't remember what the route. I think it's a dig route where he's like running inside and then turns his hips to run back outside. So it looks like a slant, and then he turns back outside. But I mean, Ramsey was all over him. It just completely just hand on him. So the throw to Kittle was wide open. Again, like I said, if there was any criticism, it's that it needed to be thrown like a second earlier to give him some space. But it was the safe one. Robbie was able to come out and kick field goal. And so it forces the Rams into having to make a drive. And fortunately for us, which we'll talk about, it worked out in our favor.
100%. So the Rams start off, and I don't know if this is due to OBJ maybe fully not getting, maybe he just made a mental error, but something definitely went wrong on that 1st and 10 because there's no way him and Cooper Kupp were both within like 3 yards of each other. And he throws the pass. Stafford throws the pass. I don't know if it was for Kupp, but OBJ tries to catch it with one hand, falls incomplete. 2nd and 10, another incomplete pass to OBJ. 3rd and 10, and an incomplete pass to Cooper Kupp. But Mosley is flagged for PI. Did you agree with that call? I know a lot of people on Twitter were pretty upset. I thought it was an okay
It was
call.
PI. He pulled the jersey with his left hand when he was making his break. So yeah, that's PI.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time I was upset, but it's the correct call.
Yeah.
So 1st and 10 from the 25 because it's a spot foul. And
By the way, Stafford was limping on that throw that he made to Cooper Kupp that he dropped in the bucket earlier. Yeah. The defender, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Key. Stepped on his foot, so he got cleated in the foot. So that's why he was limping.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was like a 3rd and 12 or something, and he beautifully bombed it down the field to Cooper Kupp, and then he's getting up off the field, limping, trying to get down there. So it's 1st and 10 from the 25. Like I said, he hits Higbee, who was very solid early on in this game for a gain of 9 yards. Greenlaw is not able to get him out of bounds, but he's able to team up with Jimmy Ward and tackle him. And 2nd and 1 from the 34, Sony Michel runs it up for a 1st down. And on the 1st and 10 from the 38, for whatever reason, Stafford decided, I got OBJ deep with the rookie Ambry Thomas in coverage. This is how we're going to win in walk-off fashion. Well, Ambry Thomas had other plans, and he picked it off, was able to get his foot and then his butt inbounds, and that's game. I mean, that's game. And I got to give you credit, Pat, because as soon as they drafted Ambry Thomas, you were like, yo, I'm pretty high on this kid. I think he could be
he's a Michigan
special
kid, man.
Yeah. So how did you feel once that happened? I assume the stadium erupted. How was that feeling?
Oh, my God. Well, it was like we exploded, and then we were like, well, was he in bounds?
Yeah.
And so we had to wait until we saw up on the board that he was in bounds, and then we all just lost our minds. I will say this. If Stafford throws a better ball, that could turn out differently because OBJ did have a step on him. That was it was an underthrown ball. But I mean, props to the rookie for ending it, Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was, I know Dick Tracy in here being a hater, but doesn't take much skill to catch an underthrown ball. I mean, listen, it's still, you got to get that ball and you got to land inbounds when you're working that close to the sideline. I thought that was a great job, particularly in a rookie where it's a do or die. It's overtime, so.
And I mean, let's be honest, you got Matt Stafford and Odell Beckham Jr., 2 of the best at their respective positions in the NFL, going at you, and you're a rookie. You're just getting in here. You're later. I think, was he a 4th round pick?
Ambry was a third
round pick. So it's not the easiest thing to do. And he came up big, especially because he had dropped a few in previous games. He's gotten better every week. He didn't really get picked on Sunday, and he held his own against a really good Rams wide receiver core. So after all that said, the 49ers win. All of the quotes that come out obviously come out. Debo's accused them of pumping in crowd noise. George Kittle's talking about the body.
They did.
Yeah. He's talking about the body bag quote, which apparently got put up as bulletin board material for the Rams, where they totally got that. They misunderstood what George Kittle was saying. He was saying it's a physical game and somebody's going to leave in a body bag. He didn't say we're going to send the Rams home in a body bag. That's just a style of play. Well, it turns out the 49ers just out physical the Rams, and they have for the past 6 games. It is what it is.
The Rams are a finesse team.
Yeah.
They are. They're definitely a finesse team. I mean, you look at what the plays were being made, and you're like, man, dude, the Rams look like they got 500 yards of offense. They only had 265 yards of offense. So
what?
The Rams had 265 total yards.
Oh, that's right, because they had 40 yards rushing, 64 yards rushing.
Yep.
Wow.
And Stafford didn't get quite. They always looked like they were making big plays. It was just a field position game where, turnovers led them to being able to get some stuff. And, after that 17-point lead, they were outscored, 27-10 the rest of the way. And, I'm sorry, 27-7 after that point. Yeah. And it's just, it is what it is, they had to win. The 49ers gritted it out. They put themselves in a hole early, admittedly, but they fought and clawed, and that's what happens when you're a physical football team and you're playing finesse.
Yep.
The Rams,
100%.
The Rams could not pound it away. Props to Cam Akers for coming back, but he didn't do anything. Sony Michel didn't do anything. So,
yep, 100%. He finished with 21 carries for 43 yards. The dude averaged 2 yards a carry.
Yep.
Longest carry of the day was 14 yards. it is what it is. So the 49ers then punched their ticket to the playoffs, which I'm 100% glad they did not count on the Falcons to get the job done, because the Falcons got completely whooped by the Saints.
Whooped.
And the Saints, I'm sure, were hoping for the Rams to hold on, but they just couldn't. And that's just kind of the nature. I think Sean McVay used so much, I think, too early on, that he couldn't keep up. He burned out, whereas Kyle Shanahan just stayed at a steady pace, and his team was able to not only get back in the game, but take the lead and hold on to it.
I think he outcoached himself too, because in the 31-10 win that the 49ers had over the Rams earlier, they only ran the ball 10 times. And so I think he came out determined, hey, I'm going to run it more. And they just could not run the ball. I mean, we talk about the third downs, but they didn't even pass the ball that well. A lot of what Stafford was doing on other than a couple of those big plays was dumping it off to like the running back or the tight end underneath, or it was Cooper Kupp on like, a 5-yard dig or something like that, where they weren't getting a ton. Right. So you're talking 49ers are third overall in total defense in the NFL. So, I mean, they're doing something right. And I think the defense carried them in a big way. If you would have told me based on that, that overtime or whatever, that they only had 265 yards of total offense, two turnovers, and the 49ers won time of possession, that I would have been, you told me ahead of the game that's going to happen. I thought the 49ers would have blown them out. We had turnover struggles, so that kind of played part of it, but you do what you can.
Yeah, 100%. It's tough to not only win, but even stay in games when you're turning the ball over not once, multiple times. So obviously they punched their ticket to the playoffs, and they are facing the Dallas Cowboys Sunday, I believe at 1:30. I just want to go over some of the stats for the for the total season of 2021. Jimmy Garoppolo finished with 3,810 yards, 3,810 yards. Sounds weird like that. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Elijah Mitchell, unfortunately, finished 57 yards shy of 1,000 yards. Would have been fantastic for a rookie to finish with that, but that's all right.
He missed a lot of games, though.
He missed, exactly. Debo finished with 1,405 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, and then he added another 365, I believe, yards rushing, and another 8 rushing touchdowns, the most by any receiver in the NFL since the Super Bowl era, which is huge. And Fred Warner finished with 137 tackles, and obviously Nick Bosa finished with 15.5 sacks. So close to the record, but it's hard when you're getting triple team and held every play.
He finished tied, by the way, too, with TJ Watt for 21 tackles for loss, which led the NFL.
Damn. That's huge. That is huge. So, and like you said earlier, the 49ers finished with a third-ranked overall defense, which is mind-boggling considering they had cornerbacks starting that were just signed off the streets, and
right.
Josh Norman and Drake
Josh Norman started for us for like 12 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just so glad that Emmanuel was able to come back and that Ambry Thomas has taken the steps that he had. Especially Ambry Thomas, props to him, because early in the season, everybody was like, man, Diamador Lenore is better than Thomas. Like, why didn't we draft whatever? And I mean, it changed real quick. I feel bad for Lenore. I think he has potential, but it just became clear that Ambry Thomas is physically gifted, man.
He's gotten a lot better. HE95 says this team has been so up and down. Wouldn't surprise me if we lose to the Cowboys or win it all. Yeah. I forget who said it. I think I might have seen somebody on Twitter that said we could beat any team in the NFL, but we could also lose to any team in the NFL. And I think that's a really good way to put it, is that it really just depends which team shows up. But I agree. I think the Niners could basically roll with the best of them.
49ers are a better road team than they are a home team, and we're going to play all road games in the playoffs. So we very well could, end up. And again, it's going to be matchup dependent. I like the way that we match up with the Cowboys, which we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, you have to protect the ball. You have to do the things that you need to do. I think some of our losses were injury related. Yeah. Games where we don't have a good, healthy running back, where we have to roll out some people who shall not be named, who haven't sniffed the field since Elijah Mitchell came back. We don't like that, but at the same time, I mean, we got hit with a lot of injuries, Greenlaw injured, Alshire injured, Trent Williams in this game injured,
Jason Verrett,
McGlinchey out for the season. Yep. So this team again had to face a lot of the injuries that we talked about last year that just handcuffed this team so bad, and they've been able to overcome it. It's been pretty outstanding. It's you go into the playoffs and we're hot at the right time. I think we're 8-2 in our last 10.
Yep.
You can't go in. I mean, there's a reason Ambry Thomas missed the season and was still a 3rd-round pick because he's really good. I watched him at Michigan. He was in 2019. He was really good.
Dick Tracy says McGlinchey being injured was a blessing. Tom Compton was a lot better than I thought he would be.
Bro, everyone and their mother knows that last year when Tom Compton played, he sucked.
He was ass.
Sucked. To the point where we were all like, dude, Tom Compton's definitely not making the 53. When we saw, them draft Aaron Banks in the 2nd round, we were like, Banks is going to be the guy. And I mean, Banks, does he even dress? I don't even know. But Compton, he's credit to him. He's done a good job. So props to him.
I agree. Oh, we got a super chat here from Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Matt. Happy Victory Monday. Go Niners. Thank you very much, Fernando. Go Niners.
Speaking of Go Niners, I got to talk about this, man. Dude, that stadium was a sea of red. Even when we rolled up to the stadium and we got there super early, right? And we didn't go to the tailgate park just because the tailgate lot, just because I was like, dude, that's a lot. Like, I don't know if I wanted to. I was really interested to see the stadium, so I was just like, whatever. But even in the tailgate lot, you just see a ton of 49er flags and just and it was just everybody walking up to the jersey. I saw so many different 49ers jerseys walking up to the gates. Very rarely would I see Rams fans or whatever. We get inside the stadium and it was crazy. We got to our seats. I sent out a picture on Twitter, which was before the game, it was 60% 49ers fans, and they just kept coming to the point where, they were doing the PA stuff and the PA announcer was getting booed when he'd be like, whose house? And, we just started booing. And like you saw on TV, you could hear it every time the 49ers did something positive. It was just an explosion. They definitely pumped in sound for the Rams to try to help them out, but it didn't work. I will say this, that stadium is really nice. Honestly, it's better than Levi's Stadium. It's honestly better than
amazing.
That video board is insane.
Yeah. I saw
that thing, by the way, that thing weighs 2.2 million pounds.
Damn.
Yeah.
But
it's insane. We were watching prior to the game when the early games were on, they can section it out so you can watch different games and it's just a complete circle. So we were watching games while we were waiting for, the game to start. And it was nice, man. It was really nice. Good stadium. Concessions are super expensive though. I spent $200.
I bet, dude. I mean, I spend easily $100, $150 when I go to a Niners game.
Yeah.
Forever Faithful Pikes, Levi's South, Itchy 95. So if we go to the Super Bowl, it's a home game. I made this joke in our chat, and I wrongly said they'd be the first team to host Super Bowl, and you corrected me. Luckily, before I sent that tweet out, they would be the second team to host the Super Bowl if they make it all the way.
Yeah.
So Forever Faithful Podcast says, do you think we have just as much faithful in Dallas? Yes.
There's a clip of the last game the 49ers played in Dallas from 2014, and it's 80% 49ers.
I remember it, yeah.
To the point that some affiliate with the Dallas Cowboys went out preemptively as soon as the game ended and was like, don't sell your playoff tickets to 49ers fans because they're that scared about it.
It was huge, yeah. We got 2 more super chats. Thank you very much. Robert Davis says, can we start calling Elijah Mitchell the Prophet? I like that. That works for me.
Yeah, that's a good nickname.
It's the truth. No, sorry, that's Frank Orris. The Prophet. Tommy Huxley, whose house? Niners house. 2-0 at SoFi.
We were all chanting that. Yeah, we were all chanting that.
It seems like maybe not the thing to keep asking, but I understand that's their little slogan.
They
Rams
did
house.
It so many times. I was like, dude, this is really try hard. This is really try hard. I will say this though, they had a actual in-house DJ, which was pretty sick. In between before the game or whatever, they were putting the music was great. And then at one point, it was super sick. They had like a live mariachi band, which was pretty cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
SoFi Stadium, huh?
Yeah.
So
concessions were fine. As a beer snob, I was able to at least find a beer that I enjoyed. The pizza was pretty fire.
nice.
So.
I know. I remember when you went to the Niners game, you were like, "I'm not too thrilled with the food."
I know, and that's my fault because I'm spoiled. Like Petco Park has amazing food, and a lot of that had to do with the Padres being so bad for so long. You got to lure people in somehow, so you need to have like restaurant quality food in there. Yeah, dude, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. The pizza was not bad at all. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to going back to Levi's next year and kind of seeing what's up. And then I think preemptively, I'm going to go to the Raiders 49ers game in Las Vegas next year.
Ooh.
So I'm hoping that Vegas security measures will keep me safe.
Yeah.
So, I do want to say this though, about Rams fans. They were super gracious about the loss, and they were like, hey, that was a great game. Good job. This and this and that. I think part of it was because they won the division anyway.
Right.
But like, it wasn't, I've been to some rivalry stuff. I used to go to the Raiders 49ers games back in the day. I've been to like Raiders Chargers, where there's just like animosity and just like real palpable like feelings of shit could happen at any moment. Yeah. Never got that here. Everybody was super cool. Everybody was really nice. So it was cool. How much were beers? I got 2 IPAs and it was like $37.50.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's I was gonna say
it's like 17.25 a beer or something.
Were they bottled cans or draft?
Tall boys.
Okay, I mean,
but still. And
still
dude, that was after walking. I had to find like San Diego like IPAs. I had to walk. But if you wanted Corona, Modelo, or like a Michelada, you can find that everywhere.
Did they have the foreign beer Bud Light?
I didn't see that one. But they also had a lot of spots where you can get like actual like full on cocktails. So that was cool too.
Joey says you got to be an investor at SoFi for how much you spent.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you got to seriously.
Pretty much.
So real quick, I know I said the season stats already, but I forgot to add in Brandon Ayuk because I really do think
it's 100 yards receiving.
Yeah. He led the receivers that game, but based off the season, the way it started, and he was in the doghouse, he was in a slump, whatever the hell it actually was.
Didn't he end up finishing with more yards than he had last year?
That's a good question.
I think he did.
Let me look it up. But I just thought it was pretty impressive how after they had their talk, whatever it is you want to call it, he did. So last season, he finished with 748 yards and 5 touchdowns. And this season, he finished with 826 yards and 5 touchdowns. The 49ers were very close to having 2,000-yard receivers in George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. George Kittle finished he finished 90 yards shy. They almost had a 4,000-yard passer in Jimmy, a 1,000-yard rusher in Mitchell, and 2,000-yard receivers in Deebo and Kittle. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out, but that's all right. I believe I saw Splash Cousins, Jordan Elliott, tweeted that this was the most yards gained ever by a Shanahan offense with the 49ers and third most all time with the 49ers. Yeah. So just some cool stats. Dylan says, yo, I'm gonna head out.
Dylan.
Go watch the end of the night. Yep. Thanks. Yeah, hit us up. We got you for the jersey, man. We appreciate you.
That was a fun bet, and I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad to sit here and eat humble pie on that.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I don't think people understand. Like, we're happy to be wrong if we ever pick the Niners to lose or we ever pick them. We want to. We're fans. We're fans first.
Yeah.
So Joey says Elijah had almost 1,000 yards in like 11 games.
Yeah, he was really nice, and if he can stay healthy for a full season, and Brandon takes that step in year 3 where he's not in the doghouse for the first 6 games. I mean, you're looking at God, that's a lot of offense, dude.
Yep. It really is. David Yang said our front four has been crazy the last 8 games. Key and Ebukam have been winning their one-on-one challenges.
Yeah.
It's been nice, man.
I mean, and the role players show up too. I know DJ Jones got hurt, but like he made a stuff. Contavious Street had a tackle for loss, like 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, I think on Sony Michel. Like they did a great job. They did a great job.
It was really nice.
It's on to the playoffs now, and it's on to the Cowboys.
So we're going to be wrapping things up here. If you guys haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, drop a comment. It really does help the YouTube algorithm. But Matt, right now, we're not doing our preview show, obviously, but how do you
we're
feel
just going to
about
touch bases, you know?
Yeah. How do you feel about the 49ers matching up with the Dallas Cowboys?
I like the matchup. I think that it's one that I would have preferred. I think that, you know, they front run a little bit. I think they're in the same vein as the Rams in that they're kind of a finesse team. And that if you can contain their running game, Dak Prescott is going to make some mistakes. You can force him into, like, Dak is one of those guys, and in a lot of the same ways that Jimmy can be, in that he needs everything around him to be humming for him to really have great games, you know? Even in that Philadelphia game, like you look at the final score 51-26 or whatever, and yeah, he had 5 touchdowns, but he didn't even pass for 300 yards. You know, so it's like, it's a lot of, I think it's very controllable. The 49ers have a good shot. And I think I like the way that the 49ers physical on defenses. And I think that they'll be able to run against Dallas's defense.
I agree. I think that the majority of the Dallas defense is kind of built off of speed and finesse. I like the 49ers. Look, a physical running style team travels along with the hard-fought defense.
Yep.
And that's exactly
and
what
it's why Shanahan didn't get away from the run even when they were down 17-0. He knows what this team is about.
Yeah, 100%. So just real quick, I'm going to say I like the Niners' chances. We're not going to get into it much. We're definitely going to save it for the preview show. But I mean, the Cowboys finished the season 12-5. They won 2 more games than the Niners. The last game on their season, they faced a Gardner Minshew-led Eagles. You know, like, it is what it is.
They play in a bad division, dude.
Yeah.
They play in a bad division.
Yep. It's easy to rack up 12 wins when you play in the NFC least. Their 4 L's on the season came against Tampa, Denver, Kansas City, Vegas, and the Cardinals most recently, 25-22. That loss against Denver is pretty ugly, 30-16. They've dropped some sinkers. They really have. And yeah, Ace Pro says go against Diggs. He has a lot of interceptions, but he gives up the most yards. He has over 1,000 yards gained on him this year.
That is it's like a reverse 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy because like he has the 11 interceptions. You're like, man, that's so good. But then like that 1,000-yard stat comes out and I'm like, that's almost not worth it. Like I'd rather have a dude that has like 2 interceptions, but gives up maybe like 25 yards receiving a game. You know?
And it really is crazy how so many fans and analysts will overlook him getting consistently burned because he's averaging like an interception a game, which is kind of crazy.
He's the definition of a gambler, though. He's like an all or nothing guy, right? Like if he doesn't get the interception, it's going to be. I think we saw that where you can double move him because he's going to break for the ball, you know. And I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, guys, I think that's going to do it for this show, though. We want to know how you guys feel about the Cowboys matchup. Either drop a comment, tweet it at us. Our handles are below on the screen. Also, make sure you tune in either Friday or Saturday. We'll go live previewing the matchup. What are you thinking, Matt?
I think Friday.
Let's do Friday.
I have to work Saturday night, so Friday works best for me.
Friday it is. Friday evening. Come back here. We'll be live previewing the 49ers Cowboys wildcard matchup. Cheers to the Niners. They made it in. They punched their ticket. It's not a waste of a season after all. Thank you very much. Oh, that last bit's always the worst. Ugh. A lot of vodka.
Yeah,
get your popcorn, everyone. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go Niners. Absolutely. It was a fantastic season. We love covering it with you guys. It really does mean the world that you guys tune up to each show. Hit like, hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Absolutely. Follow us on all our social medias. What a hell of a game to end the season. I couldn't ask for anything better. I'm so blessed that I got to watch it live. Thank you guys for showing up on a Monday. I know we had some travel difficulties and some stuff, so we couldn't go live last night. But thank you so much for showing up. We love having you as always. It's on to Dallas. So until next time, go Niners.